Hi, my name's Phil. I like talking about politics, and in this video I'd like to follow on from my earlier video discussing how Boris Johnson was clearly moving to push for unhelpful, unpopular and ineffective fracking in the UK last week in the name of profiteering for his chums. But it seems the scheme has run into something of a snag due to the location of most of the sites being politically awkward for the Conservatives. But first, if you'd like to be notified of daily news and politics, please subscribe to the channel and click the bell notification icon. So in the spirit of trying to reduce or even eliminate reliance upon, say, Russian supplies of fuel, several European countries are making a more determined push towards much lower carbon means of energy. Renewables and nuclear fission being the most talked about. And in the UK, however, a little bit different. Renewables don't make Tories rich, otherwise they wouldn't have been scaling back our efforts towards more renewable energy since they came to power in 2010. I talked in a recent video that I did about how my teaching on an environmental science unit at the time kept changing once the Tories came into power because schemes that I would talk about for increasing the proportion of renewable energy that we generated kept being cancelled. It's like, oh yeah, we used to have this scheme, we don't anymore. When it comes to energy production, the Conservatives derive a lot of personal gain from supporting, the oil companies, hence the fact that our government refuses to tax their record-breaking profits and lets energy companies just whack our bills up by 54% instead. And that's not counting the increases last year. And it's not just the corporate interests either. Like a political party that has been funded by intermediaries from another state, Russia in this case, is unlikely to want to harm the imports trade with that other state. Bear in mind that the Conservatives have not only continued to receive large amounts of money, both on and off the books, from supporters of Putin's regime in Britain after it was known that Putin carried out murders in the UK, but they also ordered our intelligence services to stop protecting us from Russian interference. And Russia's main exports are fuel in one form or other. It really is this simple. The Conservatives will never take environmental action seriously for two main reasons. First, Conservative politicians, as well as wider Conservative activists, not necessarily in the party, included in think tanks and on certain news programmes, derive a lot of funding from organisations who want to work against cleaner energy. Second, Conservatives are all about the money. Greed is good wasn't just a line in a film about rampant capitalism when I was growing up. It is the mantra for these people. And I always think this is why Conservatives have to be made to believe that success is only a matter of hard work. If you work hard, you will get the rewards in life. If you aren't getting the rewards in life, it's because you're lazy. Doesn't matter how obviously this link is shown to be false by either having the laziest people achieve Look at Boris Johnson, the laziest man you can imagine, and yet look at what he has. And yet you also have people working 2 jobs, 6 days a week, maybe even 7, poor as a church mouse. But they can't look at that. They have to believe this concept, this link between hard work and success, because otherwise their pursuit of money just looks like greed. So while other countries decide that low carbon is the way to go in order to not only reduce reliance on fuel imports, but also charge ahead with net zero plans, the Conservative government in the UK decides that we should look again at fracking. It won't actually meet our energy shortfall needs. It's been shown to be totally unsuitable for that. It is environmentally damaging for no benefit. I say no benefit. It allows a small number of people to become even wealthier than they already are. But the plan has hit a bit of a snag. It seems that the sites for fracking are politically awkward for the Conservatives. So according to a report I was reading, the vast majority of them are in marginal constituencies. Quite a lot of them are in red wall seats. These are the seats that had been held by the Labour Party for quite a long time, but then flipped to the Conservatives recently. Now, if the Conservatives don't pull the con of their lives at the next election, almost all of them are expected to flip back to Labour. But there are other constituencies as well. Some that are traditionally Conservative, been held by the Conservatives for a while, they're looking a bit tight at the next election. Like this includes the constituency of Steve Baker, the head of a group of Conservative MPs who are pushing for the government to drop net zero policies. Now, his constituency is not one that is a potential site for future fracking, but that doesn't mean he couldn't suffer politically. As the head of a group pushing for fracking to return to Britain, there will be people in his constituency who would be minded to vote against him in order to remove his influence from our environmental policies. Like whenever you go into an election, there tends to be a party that you would like to see win, of course. In my case, it's Labour. And that means wanting Conservative MPs to lose their seats. Now, some of these Conservative MPs will take their duty seriously. They'll work hard. They'll do their best for their constituents. I am aware that when I am hoping an MP loses their job, they may be competent and hardworking. In no other context would you ever wish a competent, hard-working worker to lose their job unless you were a spectacular arsehole. But it's politics. But with Steve Baker, it's a little bit different. See, he would actually be losing his job because of his own efforts as an MP. Not because of the leadership, not because of the people generally wanting a change of government, but because of his own efforts as an MP. He represents a marginal constituency now, and yet he pushes for things that he must know are deeply unpopular there. He might write newspaper articles about the need to help people in poverty, but he still voted consistently to make them poorer. He might talk about the need to boost renewables as well as other sources of energy, but the only source of energy he actively lobbies for are the non-renewable polluting kinds. So all right, saying, oh yeah, we need more renewables. Okay, so show me your efforts to boost renewables then. What have you done? Show me how you voted to do this. No. You've actually voted against them. Okay. Actions speak louder than words, Miss Baker. But The Guardian did a bit of research and they contacted 138 MPs who represent constituencies with exploration licences. Apparently only 5 said that they would support it. Most didn't respond at all, it has to be said, not wanting to upset their anti-environment colleagues perhaps, or just the government in general, but they certainly did not want to go on record as supporting the plan when they need every last vote at the next election. Because although Boris Johnson's Conservatives seem to tear up every rule in politics these days, there are a few, I think, that they cannot ignore. One of them is you do not pursue any policy that would attract serious opposition in a marginal constituency. In a constituency where you have no chance of winning, sure, yeah, okay, might as well. You're not going to win it anyway. If a constituency where you will still win, even if you massively piss off the local population, yeah, you can get away with it because you can afford to lose a load of votes rather, and not lose the seat. But in a constituency where even pissing off like a few hundred people could cost you the seat, not on your Nelly. There was a quote in the article from a Redwall Tory MP near me. They said that they objected to the plans. They publicly said, no, this is no good at all. But they described it as yesterday's technology. Now, whatever helps them express their opposition, technically we have used it in the past. We're not using it in the present and we don't want to use it in the future. But I will point out this technology is neither past, present nor future. It was a very brief fling in this country. It was never a real means of sourcing energy. It's never been useful to us and it never will be. It is a means of profit for some already wealthy individuals that does not even have the redeeming feature of being part of our energy supply solutions. Like there was a comment on my last video on the subject and they said we probably wouldn't even use the amount of gas and oil we get from it anyway. We'd just export it. And that's actually dead right. That is actually true. The only reason the United States ever derived any benefit at all from fracking was because they exported it. The produce was just exported. It's simply not a useful source of energy for the domestic market. Like when you've got access to other sources, what are you going to do with it? Because it's rubbish. And the amount we can exploit in Britain doesn't help us become independent, even if we did use it ourselves, which we wouldn't. Almost certainly would be exported. The bottom line is there's no real support for fracking anywhere in the country. You restart fracking up anywhere in Britain, doesn't matter, it could be strong Tory area or not, the Conservatives will increase the level of opposition to them in that area. It's really as simple as that. So politically, they can only afford to do it in a constituency which is so strongly Tory that it will still vote for them even if they lose a load of votes. And they could lose thousands. They might need to be able to factor in losing thousands of votes. So ironically, this means that the only places they can go ahead with this damaging and ineffective technology is in their own heartlands. But the bad luck for them is that most of the suitable sites are not in those parts of the country. Almost every new fracking site, or old one that's reopened, could actually cost them a seat at the next election. And bear in mind, they don't even have to go ahead with this before the election. Because if I were an opposition activist right now, if I were now speaking for Labour or the Liberal Democrats, or the SNP in Scotland or Plaid in Wales, wherever, you know, I would say, because it's now on record, Boris Johnson has told ministers to look at fracking again. It's not just that you've got a Tory backbench MP piping up. The Prime Minister himself has said, let's have a look at it. So I would say to these people, he's going to go ahead with fracking. He's going to open it up. He's not going to do it before the election. He's going to wait for the election, wait for you to vote them back in. Then you'll have a new fracking site there and there and there and there. You know, so even by contemplating reintroducing fracking, a move that Tory MPs know they'll never make popular, all they've actually done is give their opposition another line of attack come the next election. But those are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments below. Hope you found the video interesting. If you did, don't forget to click the like button. And if you'd like to support the channel further, please also click the Patreon link for details. And until next time, I'll see you later.